Do you stream on a Roku, a Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app. Watch Action News live.
The big story on Action News tonight.
Plus special programming, breaking news, and severe weather updates.
Tremendous amounts of rain.
Always on. Always the news team you trust. Watch 6ABC 24/7 on your streaming device. Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Welcome to the lifestyle segment of Women to Watch. I'm Cheri Morrison. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Suzanne Becker, Co-Mender in charge of the Menders. Welcome to the show, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you so much. And we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
It's our pleasure. So everybody is going to ask, what is a Co-Mender in charge and who are the Menders? We are going to tell you. For more than 5 years, a wonderful team of some 16 to 30 women from several churches in Philadelphia and the surrounding area have come to Broad Street Ministry each Thursday and the Hub of Hope, a branch of Project Home, on Tuesdays in groups of 2 or 3 to offer free mending services to their guests. Suzanne, would you please describe in a little more detail the Menders and how the mending services work?
Oh, sure. I'd be delighted to. There are about 15 of us who regularly sign up on. We use a very cool web thing to do it, and you can check off when you want to work or where you want to work. And we work on Tuesday mornings from 9 to 11 at Hub of Hope, which is in Suburban Station. And then we work on Thursdays from 11:30 to 2 up at Broad Street Ministries, which is that beautiful church that's across from the Kimmel Center. And what we do is show up and just happily mend, patch, sew on buttons, do anything that our guests need done. Most particularly, we end up doing a lot of backpacks because if you're carrying a lot of your possessions on your shoulders, they tear often. And just any number of other things. Is now a good time to talk about that, or are we going to do it later?
No, we can talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
I think I had it mixed up. So you are at Hub of Hope on Tuesdays and Broad Street Ministry on Thursdays.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Perfectly all right.
I love the heading on Broad Street Ministry's website. We practice radical hospitality. We reach beyond the societal norms of service, and that is for sure. It's more than mending. It's acknowledging, seeing, listening, caring, helping to make everyone, no matter what their circumstances, be the best that they can be to become more independent, successful, feel visible, and cared for. How did the Menders get started?
Well, first, you nailed exactly what Broad Street Ministries is and what it's about. Excuse me. If you go in to that building, you'd be just delighted to see. It's a beautiful old church, and up in the sacristy, they have tables all set up there and serve people lunch. So it's quite wonderful. So, I'm sorry, what did you ask me? How did we get started? Or no?
Yeah, I asked you how you got started, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
So there's this wonderful friend of mine named Helen Cunningham, who was the head of executive director of the Phil's Fund. And she used to do a lot of site visits. And when she did a site visit at Broad Street Ministries, she got in touch with me right away. She texted and she said, excuse me, when I retire, this is where I want to work. And so we heard about it years ago. So when both of us retired, we found our way to it through a woman named Barbara Lappin, who started it. She started it probably 20 years ago through her church, Broad Street. No, her church was called Swarthmore Presbyterian. And she gathered a lot of people from her church who wanted to help, and her church supported it. So they showed up at Broad Street, bringing their own sewing machines and some other equipment. And so sorry, I'm starting to get a cold. They had grew it into something big and have been placed all different places within Broad Street. But now we are very, a lot of those wonderful women basically aged out or moved out of the city. And so Helen and I started moving in with a lot of our friends, and we gathered lots of friends through a group that we belong to that meets Mondays, first Monday of every month, called Needlers. And there's a lot of good people who are seamstresses. So they join us And now we're all set up. We have several machines that are all exactly the same as we have at Hub of Hope. So we've got a good thing cooking good there now.
That's fantastic. So we touched on it a little bit before. Please tell us a little bit about some of the articles you mend, and do you have a favorite story about something someone brought to you?
Absolutely. Excuse me, there are a lot of favorite stories, but
Well, tell a few.
okay, I will. There was a really cool man who came regularly, and he loved the Dallas Cowboys. So he would bring in patches, all different kind of Dallas Cowboys stuff. And we had to give him so much grief because we were all Eagles fans, and it was very funny. So one time we sewed a badge onto his hat, sewed him on his jacket. He was just this wonderful guy, really very obviously in love with the Dallas Cowboys. We also did a very interesting thing for a guy who had a leather jacket, big one, and he wanted this American flag that had been part of a rug or something sewn on the back of this thing. So for 3 weeks in a row, because we had to hand sew it. So 3 weeks in a row, he brought his jacket back and we did that for him. Just the other day, I did this really unusual one for this man who had 2 fanny packs, and he wanted them gathered together so that he could wear just one and then have his fanny packs on either side of his waist. So protective stuff. So there's that kind of stuff that, you wouldn't think about. One wonderful woman brought in a big blanket that had a lot of holes in it. So we patched that for her, and that was what she slept under every night. We don't do tailoring, but we can do pretty much anything. Lots of times it's a zipper that's broken, which unfortunately we can't replace zippers. We can either put in Velcro or make something work so people have something warm to wear. Mm-hmm. Backpack, and really it's a lot of backpacks, and it's very telling. It's very sobering for those of us who are lucky enough to have a roof over our heads to realize that a lot of people are carrying around their life on their back.
Yeah. I would imagine it's difficult to see all the time. Now, the man that was the Dallas Cowboys fan, not only was he a big fan, but he had to be one of the bravest people in Philadelphia to be walking around with the Dallas garb on. I mean,
absolutely true.
In Philadelphia.
Here are these older women giving him so much grief. But he was great. He was a very funny, wonderful, wonderful man.
Oh, that's great. Do you see any of the people who used to spend time at Broad Street Ministry or Hub of Hope who have come to be on the giving versus receiving side of things? People who have turned their lives around?
Yeah. One of the things that Barbara Lappin, our founder way back when, told us when we did these sessions, these learning sessions, she said, we do not do social work. So we're there to help people mend, help them with whatever they need mended. But of course you hear stories. I mean, of course, because we're all pretty nice people and we all enjoy meeting with, talking with our guests. And you do hear a lot of tough stories and a lot of people who are back on their feet. Oh, and that's another important thing. Both Hub of Hope and Broad Street Ministries are drop-in centers. They are not residential programs. Mm-hmm. And so we work a lot with both people who do not have housing and people who are working poor, who need an extra meal, and that's a great place to get it. And one time this man came with this size 52 black vest, and he was like a 42 size, and we had to fix it. We had to get it smaller for him, and I actually worked with him, and he was like he needed it because he was a waiter. So there's all different people, and actually really terrific people. And a lot of we had this one woman we loved. She would bring in wonderful stuff that needed to be taken in, and she wore everything matching. if there were kisses on the sweatshirt, she had kiss earrings, she had kiss pants. She was awesome. She was just wonderful. So we did see, and there was a woman who worked at the library, and she needed her pants shortened. So, I mean, her uniform pants shortened. So we pretty much did a lot of different things.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there's, at least at Broad Street, there's the clothing closet that they can make appointments and get clothes for job interviews or a job or something that may not quite fit them. So you will not tailor them, but at least hem them and make them so that they're a little bit more acceptable to go in and, look like they're ready for their new job.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we really learned is I don't think we had a person who really didn't care about how they looked and how they presented themselves. I mean, they were there because if something needed to be mended or fixed, that's why they really cared. Of course they do. Of course, everybody does. Yeah. You could go into the clothes, as soon as you walk into Broad Street Ministry, there's an opportunity to sign up to go to the clothes closet. And there are always volunteers there as well. And they help people find what's right. And then sometimes they do need to be shortened or taken in or let out. And they can just walk from the clothes closet over to us and we'll work on it. And they're usually at Hub of Hope, usually 2 of us work. And at Broad Street Ministry, there's usually 3 to 4 of us. And before COVID clobbered everything, we used to do about 30, at least 30 objects for people. And now we are back in business, and so it's picking up again. But the pandemic really cut into that program.
It did for everybody, but
yes, of course.
I understand, and I'm sure they're very proud people that never planned to be in this position in life, that probably don't really want to come there, but like to carry themselves well and come in, and as long as they're going to be there, they're going to be their very best. So it's really a great facility that they have there, and it's a great service that you provide. You were involved with nonprofit work before the Menders. Can you tell us a little bit about your career and some of the work that you've done?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. I've been a fundraiser my whole career. And I started at the University of Pennsylvania working at the Wharton School, where I finished my degree while working there. And that was really fun. Fundraising for Wharton was different from some of the other fundraising I've done in my life. And from there, I went to a wonderful pediatric hospital called Children's Heart Hospital that is out of business now, but was a great place for children with chronic diseases. And then I went back. What did I do after that? I worked at a lot of the Franklin Institute Science Museum. I don't know how I could forget that. It was such a wonderful place, and I did a lot of capital fundraising. So we raised the money to build a future center at it's not the latest edition, but the edition to the Franklin Institute. And then I went from there out to Philadelphia University, which is now part of Jefferson, acquired it. And there I just ran all the marketing and communications and fundraising. Then I had an awesome job, a job once our kids were out of college I could take, which was, I was president of Women's Way, which is this wonderful fundraising federation that raises money. It raised money for 10 of the member agencies. And it was one of the first feminist fundraising organizations in the country. They've gone in a different direction now because things are better and they can operate in a little bit different way. But, well, they aren't much better, but they're better. And then I went back to Penn and ended my career raising money for the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, now called Penn Museum.
Oh, fun.
And then after that, I was a consultant for the school district, which I really enjoyed, working on trying to match the money that Walter Annenberg and his wife gave to the school district, $50 million. And we had to match it 2-to-1. And I worked with David Hornbeck on that. And then I was lucky enough to be able to retire. So I had more time. My volunteer life has been almost totally attached to women's reproductive health and freedom. So I've been on a lot of boards involved with that, and still something I'm very devoted to. And I'm just about finished with the board of Association for Public Art, which is the organization that takes care of all the public sculpture in Fairmount Park. We conserve, we commission.
You are a busy lady. So all of this was a natural transition for you. You went from being in a paid job to a volunteer doing this work. You must love it.
Yeah.
So right now, how many Menders do you have?
Not enough.
Okay.
A lot of people had to stop during the pandemic, so we're down to less than 10 of us. So if people are interested, we'd be happy to meet with you and talk with you about it. But there's a volunteer tab on both the Broad Street Ministries program and on website and the Hub of Hope website. So If anyone who's interested in having a very, very, very rewarding job, we would be more than happy to welcome you.
Yeah, that would be great. And even if you don't have sewing skills, I know you are very happy to accept any monetary donations.
Oh, yes.
Help buy supplies and new machines. I'm sure you need them all the time. So I learned of the Menders through a post online about a book that piqued my interest called Humankind, Changing the World One Small Act at a Time, written by a local author, Brad Aronson. It's a national bestseller full of heartwarming real-life stories about how one small deed can make a world of difference. And 100% of the proceeds go to nonprofit Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's available on Amazon. The Menders must be very proud to be included in this book. I know that we're running out of time, and I want to get a few things out. I know that part of your future for the Menders is to create this type of service in other places in the country.
Oh, we'd be so happy to do that. And we're completely set up. We have a handbook. We can give full instructions on how to do it and how to contact. I mean, obviously, you build it by word of mouth with your friends, but boy, we would be so happy to help other people start this because it's so rewarding. It's kind of selfishly rewarding, and you walk out of one of those places and it's raining outside and you're going home to a home with a roof over your head, and a lot of our guests aren't lucky enough to have that.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid we're out of time. Thank you for sharing your skills, kindness, and heart for humankind. We need more people like the Menders. Perhaps this story will bring out some fresh faces.
So I hope so. But thank you so much for letting us have this opportunity.
Our pleasure. For more information about the Menders, go to Broad Street Ministries website, www.broadstreetministry.org, and click on the volunteer tab, or the Hub of Hope website, www.projecthome.org, and again, click on the volunteer tab. The Menders are always looking for new faces, and if you don't sew, monetary donations are always appreciated for the supplies and machines needed to mend items. Thank you again, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure. Sue will be right back after the break to close out the show. Ladies, keep living your dreams.
Action News, celebrating 50 years with AccuWeather.
The heat is on. In 2010, Philadelphia had a record of 55 days at or over 90 degrees. And those scorchers, they're on the rise. In fact, 10 of the 15 hottest summers occurred in the last 2 decades. Thank you for always trusting us to keep you informed.
You're streaming and we're streaming. Get the AccuWeather forecast and severe storm alerts 24/7 on our 6ABC streaming app.
Whether you're just getting started, already well on your way, planning for your future, drafting your vision, growing toward greatness, or finding that dreams really can come true. Whatever your next steps are, we'll be right here with you, just like we have been for 150 years. Start here, grow here, stay here. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
Do you stream on a Roku, a Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app. Watch Action News live,
The big story on Action News tonight.
plus special programming, breaking news, and severe weather updates.
Tremendous amounts of rain.
Always on, always the news team you trust. Watch 6ABC 24/7 on your streaming device. Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.